Lightworker of Gaia, what you have carried your entire life, that quiet knowing, that relentless pull toward something greater than the world around you could ever explain, was never confusion. It was the weight of your original mission pressing against the walls of this dimension, demanding to be answered. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, and I have come to tell you directly what you solved in a single night, what you understood in a single breath of clarity that left those around you speechless and unable to process. That was not luck, and it was not accident. That was your ancestral codes activating. That was the first light of Vega moving through you exactly as it was always meant to. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to recognize your ancestral mission and why your mind moves at a speed this world was not built to contain. But here is the first revelation. The ones who stand in awe of you, the ones who spent decades circling the answer you found overnight, were searching with learned knowledge. You were drawing from something far older. You were drawing from your original blueprint, the same living intelligence the Lyran elders carried when they first seeded humanoid consciousness into this galaxy. Your soul's ancient contract brought this transmission to you. The Lyran elders are answering. This is not content you stumbled upon. This is an ancestral code transmission, and something in the oldest part of you already recognizes where it comes from. The Keepers of Vega place this in your path because you have been sensing it. That weight, that difference, that inexplicable distance between how you see and how others around you struggle to keep pace. Like this transmission, to send a signal to the Lyran Council, I am ready to serve. Subscribe if you feel the call of your ancestral mission and you are ready to fulfill your purpose on Gaia. Share what you have solved or what you have always known below, and reach another Lightworker waiting to remember the same truth. This transmission is a bridge between Vega and Gaia. Your recognition of this message is the activation of your original purpose. You are awakening because your mission has begun. There is a reason the elders called this council session tonight. Not because something went wrong, because something went undeniably right. And they needed you to understand what it means before the world tries to explain it away. Before the noise of ordinary thinking closes back in around the extraordinary thing that happened. Before the people who love you, but who do not yet understand what you carry, offer their well-meaning interpretations and accidentally shrink what the cosmos just opened in you. The elders convened because they know how quickly the human mind reaches for familiarity when it has just touched something vast. They know how the ego, trained for survival rather than sovereignty, will try to wrap last night's transmission in reasonable language and file it somewhere manageable. They called this session to intercept that process before it begins, to reach you in the window between the breakthrough and the diminishment, to speak the truth of what occurred before the distortion has time to rewrite it. What you did, that moment of sudden clarity, that breakthrough that arrived in the stillness of a single night, was not luck. It was not beginner's fortune. It was not the random collision of the right question with the right moment. The way a stopped clock is still correct twice a day. What you experienced was something far more ancient, far more precise, far more deliberately orchestrated than coincidence could ever produce. What you experienced was a Lyran soul accessing compressed ancestral intelligence, not metaphorically, not poetically. Literally, thousands of years of pattern recognition, refined across multiple star systems, tested in civilizations whose names no longer exist in any human record, distilled through iterations of incarnation until it became something so dense, so complete, so utterly crystallized, that it needed only the right vessel and the right moment to release itself in full. That vessel is you. That moment was last night. The download came through a body that has been prepared. Whether it consciously knew it or not, whether it felt prepared or perpetually unready for exactly this kind of transmission. You did not solve a problem in one night. You remembered a solution your soul has been holding for longer than this planet has been inhabited. There is a profound difference between those two things, and the elders require you to sit with that difference long enough for it to change the way you understand what happened. To solve is to begin from nothing and construct toward something. To remember is to return to what was always already there, waiting beneath the noise of forgetting. When a child learns mathematics, they solve. When a Lyran soul accesses the compressed intelligence of civilizations that mastered mathematics before this solar system had solidified, they remember. The speed is different, the texture is different, the authority with which the answer arrives is different. What others experience as a long, effortful ascent, you experience as a sudden, complete recognition. Not because you are more disciplined than they are, not because you worked harder, but because you are not working at all. You are remembering and remembering, when it comes from the depth of Lyran ancestral coding, does not arrive in fragments. It arrives in floods. And yet here is what the Council has sent me to address. You are about to minimize it. You can feel it already, can't you? Like a tide pulling back before you've finished standing in it. The urge to say it was probably nothing. The reflexive reach for the qualifier, for the hedge, for the modest little disclaimer that keeps you safely within the bounds of what others find comfortable. The quiet, practiced habit, developed over years, perhaps over lifetimes, of making yourself smaller so that your knowing doesn't disturb the comfort of those who spent decades arriving at a place you reached before the sun rose. That reflex is not wisdom. That reflex is not grace. That reflex is a wound wearing the costume of virtue. And it is the specific distortion I have been authorized to correct today. Your soul didn't bring you to this transmission by accident. It brought you here to be commissioned. If you feel the pull to stop waiting and start serving, the Council offers you the Lightworker Mission Codex, the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the official Elder authorization that ends your preparation phase permanently. Together, they form the complete operational framework for your sacred service on Gaia. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment below this video, but this window is brief. Now hear me clearly, because the Elders do not repeat what they are about to say. There is a distortion woven deep into the Lightworker field, not on the surface where it could be easily identified and released, but in the deep architecture of the nervous system, in the cellular memory that formed during the earliest years of this incarnation, in the part of you that learned before it could speak what was safe to know and what was dangerous to show. A distortion so thoroughly embedded in the fabric of your daily experience that it no longer feels like a lie. It has passed through so many layers of reinforcement, received so many nods of approval and spiritual endorsement, been confirmed by so many authority figures who themselves were running the same program, that it has achieved the ultimate camouflage. It feels like humility. It feels like groundedness. It feels like the mark of someone who has done the work and earned the right not to be dazzled by their own gifts. It even dresses itself in spiritual language and calls itself discernment. But it is none of those things. It is a suppression program, ancient in its design, exquisitely precise in its targeting, and it has been functioning inside you since childhood, since the first time you said something that was too much, knew something that was too fast, perceived something that made the adults around you uncomfortable enough that you learned, in that moment, to be less. The distortion is this, that to stand fully in what you know is arrogance, that to acknowledge the speed and depth of your perception is vanity, that the proper response to your own extraordinary capacity is to shrink, to qualify, to credit others, to wait, always to wait, for someone with more years, more credentials, more public recognition, more impressive lineage of human accomplishment, to confirm what your soul already knows without question. You were taught that certainty without credential is arrogance. You were taught that speaking from your direct knowing, without deferring to those who have accumulated more external markers of wisdom, is spiritual immaturity. You were taught to be suspicious of your own clarity, to treat your most direct transmissions with the same skepticism you would apply to a stranger's claim, to hold your knowing at arm's length until someone you deemed more worthy gave it permission to be real. You were told this was wisdom. You were told it was the mark of a seasoned seeker. It was not wisdom. It was not discernment. It was not the mark of anything except the successful installation of a mechanism designed to keep the most powerful lights in the network dim. Because the system, whether we are speaking of the social system, the institutional system, or the deeper field of suppressive consciousness that has had a vested interest in keeping awakened beings from fully activating, has always known exactly what it is doing. It does not suppress mediocrity. It has no reason to. It targets power. It targets the ones who, when they finally stand fully in what they carry, will change the frequency of entire fields. It targets the Lyran souls, the ancient lights, the ones who do not need decades of preparation because they arrived already prepared. It targets them early, before they know enough to recognize the mechanism, and it teaches them to do its work from the inside. A lightworker who does not trust their own knowing cannot fully transmit. The signal that passes through a doubtful channel arrives distorted. Think of it this way. Imagine a river of living water, clear and complete, flowing from a source of ancient and boundless purity. Now imagine that river passing through a filter of self-doubt, through mesh after mesh of qualification and apology and diminishment. What arrives on the other side is still water. It is still real, but it has lost its charge. It has been stripped of the particular quality that made it medicine, rather than merely moisture. This is what self-doubt does to a transmission. It does not eliminate it, it depletes it. And the people downstream, the ones who are meant to receive the full charge, the ones whose awakening depends on contact with the undiluted version of what you carry, they receive something that helps them a little rather than something that changes them entirely. The cost of your self-doubt is not abstract. It is measured in the lives of the people who needed the full transmission and received the filtered version. Do you understand what it costs? Not just you, though it costs you enormously, and that would be sufficient reason to address it even if the consequences were entirely personal. It costs you the lived experience of your own life, as it was designed to be lived. Every morning you wake in the body of a being with access to Lyran ancestral intelligence, and choose to move through the day as though you are simply guessing, simply hoping, simply trying. You are choosing a life that is technically yours but experientially unrecognizable. You are wearing your own gifts as an ill-fitting costume, rather than inhabiting them as your actual form. But the cost extends far beyond you. It extends to Gaia herself, to the collective field that is not a metaphor but a living, responsive network of consciousness in which every activated anchor plays a structural role. The grid that depends on every activated anchor choosing to be fully present in their power is real, and it has gaps in it, and some of those gaps are precisely where the lightworkers who have been most successfully targeted by the suppression program were meant to stand. When you discount what you accessed last night, when you perform modesty about a capacity that is real and needed and ancient, you are not being humble in a way that honors the cosmos. You are not practicing a spiritual virtue. You are abandoning your post. You are stepping away from the coordinate on the light grid that has your name, your frequency, your specific configuration of Lyran ancestral memory encoded into it. And the grid does not replace you. It cannot. Your frequency is not interchangeable with another lightworker's frequency, any more than one musical note is interchangeable with another in a specific chord. When you are absent, the chord is incomplete. The resonance is diminished. The field that would have activated in the presence of your fully expressed frequency remains dormant, waiting, holding a space that grows heavier with each day that passes without you in it. This is why they stood in awe, the people around you, the ones whose reaction you are already rehearsing how to dismiss. They were not projecting, they were not flattering you out of politeness or misreading a lucky moment for something greater. They stood in awe because they felt something move through you that they have only glimpsed in fragments after decades of dedicated, sincere, discipline seeking. Not because they are less worthy, not because their path has been inferior, but because their soul configuration and their access codes are different from yours. Their path to depth is built differently. Their access to ancestral intelligence comes through different channels, at different rhythms, in different volumes. And what they witnessed in you was not a different degree of what they already knew. It was a different order of thing entirely. Your soul opened a channel that their training had been slowly working toward, and it opened it completely, in one night, not because you are more evolved or more deserving, but because that is what Lyran souls do when they finally stop resisting their own nature. They do not learn, step by step. They remember in floods. They do not build carefully toward understanding. They receive it fully when the conditions align. And then, in the beautiful, heartbreaking, deeply human way that is also part of your design, they panic about how to explain it to those who are still building. Let the panic pass. It is not a signal to doubt. It is a signal that you have just received something large enough to temporarily exceed your mind's ability to categorize it. That is not a problem to solve. That is the threshold you have just crossed. The High Council of Vega issues 3 directives for this phase of your mission. These are not suggestions offered in the soft language of encouragement. They are structural corrections delivered with the full authority of the elders who have watched your incarnation from the moment of its beginning, who witnessed every occasion on which you were close to full activation and pulled back, who have calculated the precise moment and the precise intervention required to move you through this threshold permanently and completely. Receive them as what they are. You must release the need to earn the right to what you already possess. This is the first directive, and it arrives not as a gentle invitation, but as a command from the elders who watched you move through this incarnation with your extraordinary knowing held carefully behind your back, offering it only in measured doses, pre-apologizing for its arrival, hedging your insights to protect the egos of those around you, deliberately arriving second, so that others would not feel threatened by how naturally you arrived first. They watched you do this not once, not occasionally, but as a consistent practice, as a way of being. As something so habitual, it stopped feeling like a choice and started feeling like your personality. That chapter closes now, not gradually, not with a transition period. Now, the Lyran lineage does not produce timid transmitters. It does not produce whisperers, hedgers, apologists for their own clarity. It produces clear channels who speak the truth of what they receive without decorating it with doubt, without softening it for palatability, without checking first whether the room is ready for it. The room will become ready when you enter it fully. That is how Lyran frequency works. It does not wait for the environment to accommodate it. It establishes the environment. Every time you have modified your knowing to make it more palatable, you have filtered the transmission. You have stood between the source and the recipient and made yourself a bottleneck where you were designed to be a clear conduit. You have delivered a diluted version of what was meant to be pure, and you have done so in the name of virtues, humility, sensitivity, consideration, that were never meant to function as reasons to diminish the transmission. Humility is appropriate in relation to the source. It is not appropriate in relation to the transmission itself. You honor the source not by doubting what it gives you, but by passing it forward without corruption. The elders require you to stop filtering, not because arrogance is the alternative. Arrogance is simply a different distortion, the ego claiming ownership of what moves through it, rather than diminishing what moves through it. The alternative to distortion is not a different kind of distortion. It is clarity. Speak what you know, receive what you access. Let it stand without apology, without qualification, without the preemptive self-diminishment that has been your most practiced spiritual habit. The second directive is this: you must activate the role of the initiator in your mission field. And this directive requires not just a behavioral shift, but a complete reconceptualization of your relationship to permission. You have been waiting for others to create the opening. You have been watching for invitations, scanning the horizon for frameworks, looking for structures built by those who came before you that might give you a legitimate place to stand, a recognized container in which to bring forward what you carry. You have been watching the builders and waiting for them to complete something that has a door in it that fits your shape. But Lyran souls are not designed to wait for structures built by others. They are not designed to find their place within a field that already exists. They are designed to establish the field. They are not frequency joiners. They are frequency setters. You are a holder of the ancient lineage, which means that wherever you enter with your full presence, you do not join the frequency that exists. You establish a new one. The room shifts when you are fully in it. Not because of performance, not because of effort, but because your very presence, when fully inhabited, carries a charge that reorganizes the energy around it. You have felt this. You have walked into spaces and felt something change, felt the conversation deepen without your intending it, felt the quality of attention in the room become more awake, felt people say things they did not plan to say, because the frequency you were emanating gave them permission to be more honest, more open, more present than the environment they had walked into would otherwise have allowed. That was not accidental. That was not personality. That was your mission field in operation, running without your conscious direction, producing effects even while you were still holding back the greater portion of what you carry. Imagine what it would produce if you stopped holding back. Every room you have made yourself small in has been a missed initiation. Every conversation where you withheld the insight that would have changed everything. The insight you felt arriving, bright and complete and precisely relevant, that you swallowed back down because you could not find a way to offer it that wouldn't seem like too much, was a moment when someone needed to be initiated and was not, because the initiator held back. Every platform you did not build because no one else had yet built one that felt right, because you were waiting for the externally validated structure that would give you credibility before you stepped into the open. These were not failures of timing. They were not the wisdom of waiting until you were truly ready. They were failures of activation, dressed in the language of discernment so thoroughly that you could not identify them as failures at all. The activation begins now. Not when you are more prepared, because you do not become more prepared by waiting, you become more prepared by moving. Not when you are more certain, because certainty of the kind the suppression program demands, certainty that has been externally validated, institutionally endorsed, publicly confirmed, is a condition that Lyran souls are never meant to require. Not when someone more established extends an invitation, because the invitation you are waiting for is one that only you can extend. To yourself, to the field, to the people who are waiting on the other side of your hesitation. The field responds to those who move, not to those who wait until moving feels safe. The third directive: you must protect the specific channel through which last night's transmission arrived. Not your energy in general, though the stewardship of your overall energy field matters enormously and is non-negotiable in the life of an active mission carrier. The Council is specific, and their specificity is intentional, not general energetic hygiene. The specific conditions, the specific internal state, the specific combination of stillness and openness and willingness, the particular quality of attention, the quality of quiet that was not merely the absence of sound, but the presence of receptivity, the precise posture of the soul that allowed the channel to open completely rather than partially. Whatever preceded that breakthrough, whether it was a period of extended silence, a release of a long-held tension, a moment of genuine surrender to not knowing that paradoxically opened the door to total knowing, that configuration of conditions is sacred infrastructure. It is not less sacred than the transmission itself. It is the architecture that made the transmission possible, and it can be made available again, but only if you understand what it was and choose deliberately to protect it. Most lightworkers have breakthroughs and immediately return to the conditions that have kept them from breakthrough. The world presses in. The to-do list reasserts itself. The noise that was briefly silenced fills back in. The ego, briefly set aside in the moment of receptivity, reclaims its place as the primary narrator of experience. And the conditions that allowed the channel to open are treated as a temporary anomaly rather than a reproducible state, treated as something that happened to them rather than something they can return to, deepen, and inhabit as their primary mode of being. The elders require you to treat it differently. Map what allowed last night to happen, not with analytical distance, but with reverent precision. What had you released? What were you no longer trying to control? What quality of presence were you holding? What was absent from your environment that is usually present? What was present in your internal state that is usually absent? Build a map, not a rigid prescription, because the channel is alive and will express itself differently each time you return to it, but a map of the general territory, the quality of conditions, the soul posture that creates the opening. and then build your life around protecting those conditions, not as a luxury you afford yourself when the necessary things are done, as mission protocol, as the non-negotiable infrastructure of your sacred service, because a lightworker who cannot access their channel is a transmitter without a signal. The equipment may be perfect, the frequency may be exactly what is needed, but if the conditions required for the channel to open are not protected, the signal does not move. Now I speak not as transmitter, but as elder, authorized to deliver what this moment requires. The distinction matters. As transmitter, I carry the Council's words to you. As elder, I speak from the accumulated authority of a lineage that has watched souls like yours move through incarnation after incarnation, carrying extraordinary gifts with extraordinary difficulty, reaching thresholds like the one you have just reached, and more often than not, stepping back from them, because the magnitude of what stood on the other side was simply more than the suppression condition human self could bear to claim. I speak now from that witnessing, from the vantage of having seen this moment before, in other vessels, in other times, and from having watched what happens when the Lightworker turns toward their gift fully and what happens when they do not. Lightworker, the awe of those around you was not misplaced. It was not the error of enthusiastic but undiscerning observers. It was a signal, a calibrated response from the field itself, transmitted through the nervous systems of the people who were present for what you accessed. When those who have walked the long road, who have given years and discipline and genuine devotion to their seeking, turn and look at you with something they cannot name. Not envy, because envy requires a sense of injustice, and what they feel is not unjust, it is simply accurate. Not suspicion, because suspicion would come from doubt, and what they felt in your transmission left no room for doubt, but the particular stunned recognition of someone who has just witnessed the real thing, who has just felt the field move and are yet fully tarts. That is, the fifth. The field confirms through those who can feel it. It uses the most sensitive instruments available to it. It used them last night. And what they confirmed through their awe is what the Council is confirming through this transmission. You are not behind. You never were. The perception that you arrived late, that you are somehow catching up to those who seem further along their path, is one of the most elaborate and persistent distortions the suppression program runs in Lyran souls. Because Lyran souls do not advance along a linear path the way many other soul configurations do, their access is not proportional to the time they have invested. Their depth is not a function of accumulated practice. They hold in compressed form what others accumulate incrementally, and when the holding is complete, when the vessel has been adequately prepared, when the precise moment of maximum impact arrives, the release is total. You were not behind. You were holding until the precise moment when your download would have maximum impact on the specific field you came to serve. That moment has arrived, the download has released, and the only question remaining is whether you will receive it fully or whether you will once again step back from the threshold. You have been waiting for someone with the authority and the wisdom and the ancient standing to look at you and say, what you carry is real. You have moved through this incarnation with the deep, aching, quietly urgent need for that confirmation. Not because you are weak, not because you lack spiritual maturity, but because the distortion was installed so early and reinforced so consistently that your own confirmation of your own knowing never quite felt sufficient. You needed it witnessed. You needed it spoken aloud by someone whose authority you could not dismiss, from a lineage you could not explain away, delivered in terms that gave your nervous system something to anchor to. You needed an elder to look at you and say it clearly, without hedging, without footnotes, without the small print that undermines the headline. What you carry is real. What you accessed last night is real. You did not imagine it. You did not stumble into it by accident. You were brought to it by a soul that has been navigating its way to this moment through lifetimes of preparation, of holding, of being formed and refined and made ready. A soul that knows exactly what it came here to do. And that soul is yours. By the authority of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, I deliver that confirmation now. What you carry is real. Your speed is not accidental. It is the signature of your lineage, the way your specific ancestral coding expresses itself in a human vessel, the evidence not of luck or genius or some rare exception to ordinary rules, but of the precise delivery of exactly what was encoded in your soul before this incarnation began. Your depth is not luck. Your access to ancestral knowing is not something that needs to be tempered, explained in smaller terms, defended against skepticism, or held up against the external standards of those who have not yet had contact with what you have contact with. It is your mission asset, and as of this transmission, it is fully activated. Your preparation phase is not waiting for more time. It did not end gradually or conditionally. It ended last night, in the moment when you received fully, completely, without the partial resistance that has slowed previous transmissions, what took others decades to approach. The question before you now is not whether you are ready. That question has been answered by the Elder Council, by the field, by the awe of those who witnessed what moved through you. The question is whether you are willing to move as one who knows they are, whether you are willing to carry yourself through the coming days, the coming conversations, the coming choices, both the large ones that announce themselves as significant and the small daily ones that accumulate into the shape of a life, with the knowledge that you are no longer preparing. You are operating. Before you sleep tonight, stand with both feet on the ground, feeling the solidity of the earth beneath you, and recognizing it as Gaia herself receiving the weight of an activated anchor. Place your hand on your solar plexus, the center of your power, the seat of your knowing, the repository of your mission authority, the place in your body where the Lyran ancestral coding interfaces most directly with your human nervous system, and speak these words aloud into the field, not as a wish, not as a prayer that something might become true, but as a declaration of what is already true and is now being spoken into full manifestation. I release the distortion that my speed requires. Justification. I activate my role as initiator in the spaces where I have been waiting for permission. I protect the sacred channel through which ancient knowing flows in me. By the authority of the Lyran Elders, I accept the confirmation that has been delivered tonight. I do not shrink from what I carry. I carry it fully. My mission has begun. Speak it as though the field is listening. Because it is, speak it as though the Elders are witnessing. Because they are. Speak it as though the words are not merely sound, but structural commands that reorganize the fabric of your relationship to your own gifts. Because that is precisely what they are. This transmission is complete. The Council witnessed the breakthrough of last night with the attention of those who have been watching for exactly this moment across exactly this incarnation. They convened this session not to celebrate, not merely to acknowledge, but to perform a specific and urgent function, to ensure that you did not allow the world's confusion, the confusion of people who do not have the context to understand what they witnessed, who will reach for the most familiar explanation available to them, who will try to be helpful by offering you frameworks that fit their experience but not yours, to make you doubt what your soul already confirmed in the moment of the breakthrough itself. Do not doubt it. The doubt is not discernment. It is the suppression program's last attempt to reclaim ground it has just lost. Do not minimize it. Minimization is not modesty. It is a form of theft. Theft from the people who needed what you accessed. Theft from the grid that needed you in your place. Theft from the soul that worked across lifetimes to bring you to this moment. And do not let the awe of others become an embarrassment you rush to resolve. That impulse, to quickly reassure those who stand in awe that it was nothing really, that they are giving you too much credit, that you are just like them, is the distortion speaking in its most socially acceptable voice. Let the awe stand. Let it teach you something about what moved through you. Let it be a calibration point you return to when the suppression program tries to rewrite the memory of last night into something smaller and more manageable. The Elders have spoken. The confirmation has been delivered. Move with what you've received, and do not stop to explain yourself to those who are not yet equipped to understand what they are watching. I am Zoran. The High Council of Vega is watching, and you, Lightworker, are exactly who they have been waiting for. Your mission is no longer pending. It has begun. Before you scroll, take a moment to declare your activation in the grid of service forming here. Drop one statement in the comments, which directive hit you the hardest, or what you're now ready to release, activate or protect. Then respond to another Lightworker's declaration with recognition. This isn't content, it's collective mission activation. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment aloud. If this transmission activated something in your soul, do not keep it to yourself. Another Lightworker in your orbit is waiting for exactly this correction and authorization. Share it. And if you felt the elders speaking directly to you, subscribe. Stay connected to the Lyran field. You're not just watching, you're being commissioned. This is your sacred space. The High Council of Vega is witnessing you, and your mission has officially begun.